Hello, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, children of the living God. Welcome to Christian Business Community Page, where children of God are being taught how to do business the Lord's way. And can I say this to you, that it is possible to do business the Lord's way. Very, very possible. I am Pastor Temitope Oluwa. And what we are considering today is bribery. Bribery. In the book of Exodus, chapter 23 and in verse 8. Exodus chapter 23 and verse 8. The word of the Lord explains to us, "And thou shalt take no gift, for the gift blinded the wise and perverted the words of righteousness." Gift blinded the wise, perverts the ways of God. The gift we're talking about here is bribery. Bribe, when you take bribe. So the big question now is this: what is bribery? This thing that has got the potential of blinding the wise and perverting the way of righteousness. What is this bribery exactly? Now, bribery is money, favor, or promise given in order to influence judgment or conduct of a person in a position of trust. When you try to manipulate somebody in a position of trust to do stuff the way you want it done, not the way that has been laid down by the law, that is bribery. You give either money, favor, or you promise that you will do one thing or the other. Now, bribery is not the will of God. It is an ill wind that blows no one no good. Bribery is really, really bad. It starts from a very small, situation gradually, and before you know what's happening, it becomes a national phenomenon. The word of the Lord explained to us in the book of Proverbs chapter 14 and verse 34 that righteousness exalts a nation and sin is a reproach to all the people. When you give bribe, it is sinful. You see, to lessen the gravity of bribery, so to say, people tend to give various names. Some people will tell you it's not bribe, it's just a gift. It's not bribe, it's just tips. It's not bribe, it's just something to motivate you, motivation. Whatever name you give to it, the motive behind it is the real thing, and God can see through all of us. That does not mean that we don't have people that will give gifts without, ulterior motive. But what is the motive for giving what you are giving out? Look at Proverbs chapter 29 and in verse 4. Proverbs chapter 29 and verse 4. The king by judgment establisheth the land, but he that receiveth gift or bribe overthroweth it. The king by judgment establisheth the land. The meaning of that is this: there's a system. Some people are trying to do the right thing. Put in place the right system. But those that are interested in bribery that breeds corruption overthrow all that those that are trying to do the right thing have done. And this is really, really bad. Unfortunately, majority of the people at the helm of affairs, they use their position to encourage bribery. Take for instance in the book of 1 Samuel chapter 8 and verse 3. 1 Samuel chapter 8 and verse 3. Samuel, everybody understands that Samuel was a righteous man of God. Unfortunately, his children refused to follow his ways. 1 Samuel chapter 8 and verse 3. And his sons walked not in his ways, but turned aside after lucre, and took bribes, and perverted judgment. These are the children of Samuel. Samuel, the righteous prophet. So majority of those at the helm of affairs are very much neck deep into this. And of course, you might have heard of a lot of, such stories in the news. It is not the way of God. We need to be extremely very careful as children of God not to get ourselves involved in this. It's an ill wind that blows no one no good. Now, we will look at the Word of God again and see acts of bribery in the Bible. For you to understand that it's not just starting in this our own generation. It's been for long. In the book of 1 Kings chapter 21, 1 Kings chapter 21, verse 8 to 14, we saw in the bid to get Naboth's vineyard what Jezebel did, how he wrote to the elders of Naboth's town to set him up and to kill him. Of course, it was not stated in the Bible that Jezebel would give them anything. I mean, the elders that he wrote to. It's not stated in the Bible that she will give them anything. But, she's over there at the helm of affairs. Definitely, if they do her will, she will eventually compensate them. That is it. Perversion of justice. In Acts chapter 8, verse 17 to 24, Peter and John, they heard that Samaria has received the word of God. So they decided to go there. And they met Simon the sorcerer. In the process of, moving around, praying for people, doing miracles, signs, and wonders, he saw what the Lord was doing. And he offered money. He told him, please, give me this power. And he offered money to them. And Peter was so cross with him to the extent that he told him, your money perish with you. Acts chapter 8, verse 17 to 24. Can you imagine if the gift of the living God is now something that people pay for? Acts chapter 24 and verse 26. Felix, after listening to Paul, who was, a prisoner there, realized that Paul was not guilty of all that the people had said about him. He had the power to release Paul, but he wanted Paul to do something, or those that are coming to see Paul to do something, and that is to motivate him, so to say, to give him something, bribe him. And when he realized that nothing of sort will happen, he decided to toss Paul to Festus. He would have released Paul, but he refused because of no bribe. Matthew 26, verse 14 to 16, it was Judas who went to the high priest to say, listen, what will you give me if I show you how to capture the Lord Jesus? What will you give me? And they covenanted 30 pieces of silver with him. That's it. Bribery. It's so terrible and it's so bad. And it's not the will of God that the children of light should get involved in bribery that breeds corruption, that breeds killing, that breeds perversion of justice and stuff like that. We are children of light. We are to reprove darkness, not to accept darkness. Bribery is an act of darkness. As children of light, what do we now do? How do we now do business in an environment where bribery and corruption is the order of the day? Unless I forget, issue of bribery and corruption is all over the world. Don't let anybody deceive you that, oh, your country is so corrupt and this and that. Yeah, your country might be corrupt. But so are all other countries, all over the whole world. Bribery is all over the world. Is like a world phenomenon. Everywhere you go. So as children of light, how do we now do business in such an environment? The word of the Lord explained to us in the book of Exodus chapter 23 and verse 20. Exodus chapter 23 and verse 20. My angel will go before you to keep you in your way and to bring you to a place that I have prepared for you. Three things in that verse. First and foremost, my angel will go before you. The angel of the Lord will not go before anybody that is not born again. My angel will go before you only for children of God. That's number one. Number two, to keep you in your way. See, there are traps on the way. There are landmines on the way. There are a lot of ditches on the way and a lot of upheavals on the way. But the angel of the living God will watch over you so that you don't fall into the trap of the enemy as a child of God. Why? Because there's a place prepared for you. It is the duty of that angel to bring you to that place, provided you listen and walk according to the will of God. That angel will bring you to the place that the Lord has prepared for you. Now the question is this. The place that the Lord has prepared for you, it's only for those who have asked the Lord that is business actually what you have designed for me? Because many might say, I want to go into business. And the Lord might be calling them to be teachers in schools. Many might be saying, I'm a businessman, I'm a businesswoman. And the Lord might have something else for them. So you need to ask the Lord, is it your will for me to actually go into business? And if yes, what sort of business exactly are we talking about? The Lord will lead you. See, it makes things easy when you ask and you know what the plan of the living God is. It is only then this verse can work for you because you know, you are sure of where the Lord is taking you. And again, there's a path to do business the Lord's way. There's a way we do it in the kingdom. The Bible says, explain that in Psalm 16 verse 11, thou shalt show me the path of life. There's a way to the path of life. He said, in the presence there is fullness of joy, and at the right hand there are pleasures evermore. To get the fullness of joy and the pleasures evermore, you need to know the path of life. Understand, children of the living God, that the Lord, He maketh all things beautiful in His own time. When you are walking with the Lord, you need to understand that issue of time is in the hands of the living God. Understand also that you don't tell the Lord, this is what I want you to do. He is God, He is the Lord. He tells you what you must do. Understand at the same time that this God we are talking about ruleth the affairs of men. So if everybody is saying, oh, we can't get contract here because they're asking for so and so amount to bribe, the same God that ruleth in the affairs of men might take you there without giving a dime to anybody. Why? He ruleth in the affairs of men. The word of the Lord explained to us that the heart of the king is in the hands of the living God. He can turn it to whithersoever he wants. So the answer is in you following the instruction of the Lord. And his instructions are not grievous if you will diligently follow him. Let me give you a small testimony, a short testimony. Pardon me. A brother was leaving the United Kingdom to Nigeria, and he decided, he just got this inspiration that he needed to leave, So, and he decided, okay, before I go, let me seek the face of the Lord. And he spoke to a friend who took him to a pastor, and they prayed, and the pastor said, brother, I saw you with a hard hat on your head in a construction site on a desert. I know that the Lord has prepared a place for you. How to get there, I don't know at the moment, but the Lord will lead you. And he eventually told his friend later, after they left that place, are you sure that man of God knows what he's talking about? Because I'm not even into construction. What I study is totally different to construction. To cut the long story short, he got back to his country. He did all he could in terms of business. Nothing worked. Eventually, he started praying that God should please see him through. One day, he went to one of the ministries, and somebody just saw him. And the person told him, listen, can you do me a favor? I need something to be done in another country. I want you to get a construction team ready because something is to be built. The facility is to be built in another country. And I want you to do it for me as quickly as possible. And if you can do it in real time, I promise you that you'll get more jobs. And when you know what was happening, they gave him mobilization fee, and that was it. He was in another country, building a facility, putting on hard hat in a construction site in another country. The word of the Lord through the mouth of the pastor came to pass. That is it. When you avail yourself in the presence of the Lord, word of knowledge, word of wisdom, inspiration will come, and the Lord will guide you. He said, my angel will go before you, and he will keep you in the way. The meaning of that is, I will guide you. Understand, children of the living God. Isaiah chapter 45 explains to us, there are treasures of darkness and hidden riches in every land. Who knows where these things are? The Lord alone. How can you get them? By standing in his presence. Read the word of God. Live according to the word of the living God. He will lead you. He will inspire you. These things work. And few have found out that yes, this is where the real thing is. And for that reason, they've shown this way of the world, way of doing business in the world. Say, children of the living God, you can make it. The Lord will help you, provided you are ready to follow him. Now, some, in the process of following the Lord, they give up quickly. Remember I told you, I said, timing is in the hands of the living God. If he's leading you, you don't go ahead of him. You don't rush ahead of him. He might decide in his heart that it will take 3 years before the blessing will come. 2 years, a year, 6 months, 5 years before the blessing will come. The most important thing is for you to get the blessing. And then you follow him patiently. You don't run ahead of God. Else you will lose the blessing. you will lose all you have been waiting for quite some time. So, brethren, the solution is for you to follow the instruction of the Lord diligently and wait for his leading. Romans 8:14. As many that are led by the Spirit of God, they are the sons of God. Those are the only ones that get the blessing from the Lord. I pray that the Lord will grant you that grace to be patient enough to learn the rudiments of the kingdom, the principles of the kingdom of God, for you to understand that the ways of the world is totally different to the ways of the kingdom. When you do business the Lord's way, you are bound to prosper beyond what you can imagine or think. The Lord grant you grace as you follow his instruction in Jesus' name.